look, Trump's going to get way nastier and uglier over the next 30 days. Like, it's becoming very apparent he is out the door. He's given all these sort of
Is he going to go to the inauguration? You think he'll show up?
He is way too shallow, petty, and
Will
small
he show
to
up?
show
Do you think he'll show up? Do you think he'll show up? Do you think he'll show up?
Sore loser, bro.
You don't think you think he'll show up?
He'll show up at his rally that day.
You think he'll show up?
Yeah, he'll do his
So
own.
let me get this straight.
Do you think he'll show up?
None of you guys think he's going to show up to the inauguration.
No, I
loser.
do. Time out. I'm taking that back.
Sore
He will
loser.
show up. I mean, come on. The guy is a true American. He has respect for protocol in this country.
So-
he realized that's a
How
bad
much you
move
want to
if he
bet?
didn't show
How
up.
much you
He'll
want to
be there.
bet?
Well,
$125.
$125 he doesn't show up.
Let me ask the other
Shake on
question.
it, Tom.
Let me ask the other question. Let me ask you-
$125.
Let me ask the other
Document
question.
that. Go
Let
ahead.
me ask the other question.
Yes, sir. I'm
Here's the
heated.
other
I'm
question
heated.
for you. Is there even going to be an inauguration? Because if
It'll be a
Biden's
social
camp
distanced one, yeah.
is all about social distance,
Yeah.
how weird of an inauguration is that? If you have to sit 6 feet apart, so that means Trump's are going to sit 6 feet apart from Biden's, are going to from Obama's are going to sit 6 feet apart from Clinton's. That inauguration is not going to be 500,000 people showing up. So is it even going to be an inauguration? Is it even going to
Great
be the
point.
same one, or will it
Great
be a
point.
Zoom inauguration? Will it be a TV inauguration? It may not be an inauguration that you're thinking
It'll
about.
be just like one of his rallies where 15 people
If
show up
th-
in cars, social
that's
distance,
why
6 feet apart.
if it's that and he doesn't show up, I don't think it's a big deal.
Well, I think Trump shows up maskless, possibly shirtless. He don't give shit, man.
No, he's not going to show up shirtless. But what I'm
we
trying
know
to say
that.
to you is, I think it'll have a lot to do with how, as these cases are going up and everybody's panicking about cases going. I got a call yesterday from a friend of mine who his son works at the ICU in Baltimore. Okay, Jordan. Shout out to Jordan, and shout out to Mehran. And he called me. He says, "Listen, I just want you to know, my son told me that the ICU is so packed right now with people with cases. It's nonstop. He just dropped me a nice message saying, just don't be a what's the word he used? He says, don't be a I don't know if
Denier?
He said maverick or something like. No, not a denier. He said, don't be a maverick. Don't be this. Just keep this part of mind that my son works in ICU. And by the way, this is a pretty conservative guy. So he's not coming from a place of, there is no politics in his comments, right? But if the cases are going up and it's real, there is no inauguration because it shows that his messaging, that he's going to come out and he's going to say, I'm the more responsible guy on how to handle COVID. You can't have an inauguration. The inauguration is out the window because you're showing a lack of responsibility if you are going to have an inauguration. So if there is not one and he doesn't show up, I don't think it's a big deal.
I think they could do it without the public, right? I mean, keep them, like, put your hand on the Bible, do the thing on TV. But you also made a really good point that not being an inauguration because Trump could still win. Then there wouldn't be an inauguration.
Yeah,
So good point. I'm with you.
There would actually still be an inauguration, even if he wins, because when you win again, you get inaugurated again. That's just how it works. But again, I don't think that's happening. I think Biden will have a more subdued inauguration, a little social distance. Not as crazy. I don't think Biden is there for like look at my crowds, look how big. He's just like, look, bro, let's, I got a bad ankle. Let's just keep this thing moving.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is I think this is going to be a very weird, you have to
But
be
I don't
ready
think it's
for-
going to be a Zoom type of inauguration.
You have
It'll
to
be
be
a low
ready.
key.
You have to be ready for anything this year. This is a very weird year. So if you're going to be surprised by inauguration not being the traditional one, you are naive. This is a very weird year. He may just come out and do something basic and they leave and boom. So now the question becomes, do I think on the same exact day Trump will hold a rally? Here's what I think. I'll give you my opinion. Number one, I think he's capable of doing that. Number two, I think it's not the right thing to do. Okay? I think he's capable of doing that. I don't think it's the right thing to do. Will he do it? I think there's a 70% chance that he would do something like that. Okay?
His own rally, you mean?
I don't think it's a good idea to do that. I don't think it's a good idea for you to do that. Look, voter fraud, did it happen? 100% it happened. It happens every single time. Was there more this time than the other way around? 100%. I fully believe it because there was one thing different about this ballot than the other ones, which is what? A bunch of mail-in ballots. And you're poised to do voter fraud. The other day I'm talking to a guy who works for one of the guys that was involved politically in JFK's campaign, where they did the whole voting stuff, and where the guy said what, the Daily said what, folks, make sure you go vote and vote often. Meaning
Right.
keep voting. Don't just you understand
That
what
was
I
their mantra.
Yeah, that was their
Totally.
mantra. Keep
Early
voting.
and often.
Early and often, right?
Dead
Okay.
people.
So yes, it happened. It happened. Guess what? Your strategy sucked. Theirs beat you. Period. That's all there is to it. You lost to a better strategy. And 4 years ago, guess what, Hillary Clinton? Your strategy sucked. You lost. His was better. And you need to go home. And she went home, and for the rest of her career, she's talked about what? She threw Russia at him. She played games. She did all that other stuff. Is Trump going to do to Biden what Hillary did to Trump? 100%. If you think for a second Trump's going to sit around, he's going to do exactly what Hillary did to Trump. Mm-hmm. He's going to do exactly what Obama did to Trump. He's going to go after Biden. He's going to go after all those guys. I don't think that's going to stop. I just don't think it's a good idea for him to go and hold an event on the same day as inauguration. I think what it does to the base that he needs. So becoming a president, he got 74 million votes, which is the most ever by a sitting president. That's never happened before. Biden ended up getting 80 million votes, which if you take the mail-in ballots out, that number is probably going to be a lot lower than what it was because mail-in ballots, people send on more ballots on both sides, 74 to 80 million. What we learned is you ain't going to become a president without flipping the middle. Mm-hmm. You're not. So it's not about your base.
The swing states.
You are not. Like one of the things Obama said yesterday when he talked about defunding the police, which we'll get into here in a minute. We'll go into the next. Obama talks purely strategically. Mm-hmm. Everything about Obama is strategic. There's something to be learned about Obama because what Obama was able to do, he was able to get the independents to say what? You know what? I like the way he said that America's about, it's not about just the Republicans and Democrats and independent. America's about Latino community. America's about blacks. America's about the white. America's about suburbia. America's about this. America's about farmers. America's about LGBT. This is the, he gave that message. And independents said, you know what? I'm just going to vote for this guy. I'm cool with this guy. If Trump doesn't play that card, oh, dude, you ain't getting the vote that you need. I'm just saying. Yeah. So strategically, it's not a good strategy.
Okay, and I think that plays into his speech yesterday, this 46-minute speech.
Yeah.
This wasn't a campaign speech. I personally, in all seriousness, if nothing changes regarding the voter fraud, if there is no proof or this thing doesn't get flipped, I don't think he'll show up at the inauguration. I'll tell you why. Because I don't think he believes this is the same America going forward because of the result of this election. And if they got away with it once, and if they get that one more Senate seat in Georgia, what they're going to be able to do in the next 4 years is unbelievable and prevent a guy from Trump from even having a chance of winning an election. I think that's why that speech he made yesterday, once you get past your hatred of him or anything else about him that bugs you, that's what he was talking about. And if he went to the inauguration, he'd be conceding the fact that he lost the election. In his mind, which works a little bit differently, he doesn't believe he did. He had it stolen from him. So I don't think he would show up. And if he's going to run again in 2024, I think he would feel it's a bad precedent for him to go admit failure, admit I lost. He would ride that wave of 4 years saying, I never did lose that one.
But let me explain this thing to you. So I'm watching the commentary, right? And people are saying, You're this, and Trump's going to do this, and you don't understand. America's with Trump, and America's with this. I don't disagree that America's not with Trump. I don't disagree that America's not with Trump. I also don't disagree that America's also with Biden. Okay, you got 80 million, you got 74 million. I'm very comfortable knowing that America's with a portion of America's with what? With both sides.
Right.
But this is not about that, Tom. This isn't about you. This isn't about you. This isn't about you, and this isn't about you. This is about who you can convert. You see, when there's a debate in politics to me, if I walk away and you walk away and you walk away, no one's mind's been changed a little bit by 1%, it was a waste of a meeting. But if you walk away and Adam walks away and I walk away and I say, you know what, Adam had a point about when he talked about Biden and he comes out and, China tariffs are not really, he's holding it in. Okay, I mean, that's a good point. And the, cabinet he chose, Elizabeth Warren's not in it, Sanders not in it, AOC's not in it, Ilhan Omar's not in it. So maybe he is Democratic and left. Maybe he's not far left. Maybe it's not that bad. And he could walk away and say, you know what, maybe Trump's policies are good for business and maybe it benefits me. The point I'm trying to make to you is it's not about your base. Mm-hmm. It's about converting a part of the base that's not your base. You got to win them over. How do you win them over? To win them over, you have to come across united. You cannot come across as us against the world. It doesn't work that way. Not about presidential. It could work in mayor. It could work in Senate. It could work in House. It could work in governor. It cannot work with presidency. You got to win that middle community that says, you seem reasonable enough that you're going to be fair with me and them. Because they don't like for example, the last debate Trump did with Biden. Look at Trump's first debate with Biden. Look at Trump's last debate with Biden. Night and day.
Night and day. He was a disaster
Trump
the first one.
crushed it on the last debate.
Second one.
Yeah.
First one was a mess.
First one was a disaster.
He probably had COVID at that point.
I told you he had COVID. I'm thinking he had COVID. Trump was a disaster. Why did America like the second one? He didn't interrupt Biden.
Yeah.
He was composed.
Measured.
He was measured. See, that was kind of like, you know what? This is the guy I want to see. And then when he got COVID, he said, look, this thing is real. I have to tell you it's real. I've had it. It's not something. And, people are like, oh, wow, this guy's got this side. But then he went back to, let me tell you. Yeah. You don't convert. It's about a conversion game. It's not just your base. Right. I may be wrong, guys. I'm just a business guy. But I think there's a little bit of strategy there that he's got to do a better job.
One quick rebuttal. Go ahead. Just one quick rebuttal. Yeah. I think Trump believes he did that. He won the Hispanic vote. He dominated that Latino vote in Florida.
What do you mean he won the Hispanic vote?
Well, I mean, look.
Tremendous progress.
He did very well. We don't know that.
He went from 15% to 20%.
He did very well with the black vote. He did very well.
That's what are you talking about?
But he didn't win.
Of course it's winning. It's 33% growth in a community voting for you. And nobody ever thought, they said this guy's not going to win.
But he didn't get more than 50%.
Yeah, but he did what Pat was referencing he flipped enough people in the middle that generally went the other way.
You're winning if you're. So, for example, House, Pelosi lost a few seats. Yes. Her own side is saying, I'm not going to vote for it to be the House, what do you call Speaker of the House. Why? Dude, you're not flipping me. I'm not staying with you. Yeah. It's about converting a few. He took Latino from 15 to 20, and his African-American vote is the highest for Republicans in
12% now.
That's massive.
I know. It went from 8 to 12.
That's 3 times McCain. Yes. 3 times McCain.
Correct.
So he's done that part, but I just think he had to now flip a little bit of the independent, and he didn't.
And one last thing. I think if you look at I think he's holding back information he knows. He can't say. I mean, you watch him on that speech yesterday, and it's like he wants to reveal more information of things that he actually knows. Maybe he could.
No, he's holding back anything at this point?
100% I do. I totally do. He can't release it all now.
I respect what you're saying. I don't think Trump has the capability of holding anything in. I think he's just going to get out there and say what he wants to say, whether you like it or not.
There, he says, no, Pat, you're wrong. Biden did not get more votes than Obama. It has nothing to do with winning the middle. It's impossible. I disagree. I disagree. Listen, I want you to understand this part. I do think there is voter fraud. Yeah, people have. How many times offline have I told you there was voter fraud? How many times?
Yes, you've told it many times.
Every time I've said my position doesn't change. There was voter fraud. Do I believe?
There's voter fraud in every election.
I get that. But bro, Biden's not an 80 million vote guy. No way. There's been a lot of people that have been hated by the other side. Biden's not an 80 million vote guy.
This time around he was.
There is no way in the world. There's nothing about Biden that's
so what is he? What's his number?
He's a 65 million vote guy.
So you're saying that there was 15 million?
What I'm trying to tell you is he's the base guy. He needs to get the votes of the base. The Democrats that are like, I hate the other guy, but he's not an 80 million guy. He's not, because 80 million means the middle went left. That's 80 million. He's not that guy. Obama is and was. Bill Clinton is and was. Okay? George Bush, believe it or not, is and was. Okay? Reagan, 100%, because Carter was not. He was not popular. There's nothing about Carter that was popular. Carter got lucky when he became president. The timing was perfect for Carter to become president, and he became a one-term president. Mm-hmm. But I don't believe the 80 million votes that Biden got is real 80 million votes. I don't believe that. But even with that being said, even without all the manipulation that took place, if Barr comes out and says there's no voter fraud,
highlight that right
you
there.
Drop. Highlight what?
No, I'm just saying that's a major thing.
Yeah, if Barr comes out and says, as of right now, we've not found any voter fraud.
The Attorney General.
Yes, the Attorney General that's a pro-Trump guy.
Pro-Trump, the biggest pro-Trump guy.
I'm giving it to you. If he comes out, if one state after another state after another state after another state, by the way, even if let's just say he wins Michigan, it's still above 270 for Biden. He has to flip 3-4 states for it to turn.
It's not happening.
This is, again, where I'm going to with you on this is when it happened and everybody said, oh, this is going to go, this many weeks and it's going to be, Trump's going to be able to flip it. I'm like, dude, we're not talking about one state. Mm-hmm. If it was only Arizona, yes. If it was only Georgia, yes. If it was only Wisconsin, yes. If it was only Michigan, yes. If it was only Pennsylvania, fine, yes. But we're talking about 5 states. Mm-hmm. Look. You got to go. And then now Trump yesterday or 2 days ago says at a party that he's going to come back 2024. It's a message saying, I concede if I'm going to come back 2024. So is there a part of it that he's certain he was cheated out of an election? I think he was cheated out of an election.